Baggedmilk on the line with us. We'll kick things off with our topic today. Anything better than sex, in your opinion, Baggedmilk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. How about here's this. How about just being left alone?
Alone time. Better than sex.
Left alone to do whatever you want, whether that's watch a war movie and eat hot dogs right out of the package or learn to play The River by Springsteen on the guitar. Being left alone to do whatever you want, hands down, better than sex.
I'm not going to disagree with you, and I will say this. I'm actually kind of surprised it's coming from somebody who hasn't had kids yet, because I think that elevates when you end up rearing kids, right? Like if you spend 18 years of your life raising a couple of kidlets and then sending them off into the world, that time you get by yourself is so precious.
Well, and I would imagine if you, like parents of young kids, if you got 2 young kids or 3 young kids in the house, any bit of alone time would be like, don't talk to me, don't look at me.
Yeah.
See, no matter who you are, just being left alone, it's appreciated by everyone of all ages. Spectacular.
You're right. I'm in the tub! Leave me alone!
Exactly.
Baggedmilk, start of the season not too far away, obviously, with the Stanley Cup Final being hoisted and then drank out of in Edmonton by another team.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was weird.
It was like everything about, I mean, the list of weird things about 2020 just goes on and on and on and on, but it was bizarre. I mean, I give the NHL full credit for being able to pull off the playoffs successfully. They didn't have any positive COVID tests during the entire time, and the Tampa Bay Lightning won the cup as it was supposed to be given out this year. So I give the NHL a lot of credit despite the circumstances, and what I really want to know, it's how badly the boys banged up the JW Marriott that night when they got back from the arena. You know what I mean? Cause
need to do some drywall patches.
1,000%, because this is easily one of the most boring Stanley Cup win celebrations ever in history, where you're just there with your boys and there wasn't a whole lot going on. So I imagine that those walls in that hotel saw some weird stuff.
Probably played mini sticks in the hallways.
Absolutely. I just imagine that they like taped iPads up to the wall and they had like babes dancing on the wall, and that's the only way they could make it work or something. I don't know. They had to get creative though.
So is this win tarnished a little bit because I read a couple of articles where they were like, it doesn't mean as much as, a normal year?
I completely disagree.
Yeah,
it's easy for us.
I'm with you.
It's easy for us on the outside to look and say, oh, this has been tarnished or whatever. But like, I'm thinking about the guys who were in the bubble for months without their family and friends, and they had to kind of lock it down. So no, I completely disagree. I think if anything, this Stanley Cup was probably harder than most to win because of the circumstance and the sacrifice that they had to do to make it happen. So I completely disagree with that. I think it's ridiculous, especially when you all of us were free to move about our lives over the past few months, where these guys were stuck in a hotel, basically in prison, until this thing was over. So no, I completely disagree with that.
Okay, I just want to be the first one to ask you this. The Rangers have made it official on Twitter that they have bought out Henrik Lundqvist's contract. Should the Oilers sign him?
Listen, if there's one thing I know, going from New York to Edmonton is the exact same thing, so I'm sure he would be down for the cause. The reality is that he didn't have a great year last season. He's been in decline for the past 3. I love Lundqvist. I always have. He's a handsome man, looks stylish in a suit. I could see him on billboards all over the city. Everybody would love it, but I can't see it being a reality. I think if Henrik Lundqvist is going to come back and play next year, it's going to be, he gets to call his shot now. So I think he's going to go straight to a contender, the best team to give him a chance to win the Stanley Cup. So I could see him signing a 1 year in Colorado or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is he the best teammate? I sort of get the sense that he's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
I don't know too much about him personally.
Yeah.
I just know the situation that they're in is pretty tricky. The Rangers obviously couldn't carry 3 goaltenders, so they had to cut their old expensive guy, which unfortunately sports is cutthroat, man. And we saw a case of that because he's going to go down as one of the best Rangers goalies ever. And you can see the reaction on Twitter. Like I was reading some of the replies to the Rangers tweet, and people are bummed out. So I don't know if what he's like personally, but clearly he means a lot to Rangers.
I think Locker might be getting confused because you were saying that you heard he's a dick. What
Yeah,
it
I don't
was
know.
Sean Avery famously once said he had the biggest in the locker room.
Oh, is that
nice.
is he got
Maybe
a bit of a
that's what
python?
you're thinking of,
Okay,
yeah.
See, and to me, that's unfair. The guy is so talented and handsome. I feel like he should only have a tiny schmeckle. You know what I mean? This is just unfair. We need to balance things out.
That's fantastic. Well, when is the start of the season? Do we have a date? Like, that's just around the corner.
So Bettman did his Stanley Cup presser that he does every year, and it's looking like now that it won't get started until late December or early January.
Okay.
They obviously need to work out some logistics, because if you read some of the player feedback from Life in the Bubble, it's no bueno. Like, they don't want to be locked down like that. So the latest that we posted on OilersNation.com the other day was from Frank Saravalli at TSN. He thinks that it's going to be kind of like a Fort Mac camp, where people come flying in for 2 weeks and then they leave for a couple of weeks, that kind of thing. But that's still up in the air. It's still preliminary. But late December, early January is what they're targeting right now.
It seems to be working with baseball, like with them moving around.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that they're looking at that, and they're looking also at the NFL, that they're allowing fans back in the stands. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. However, the hitch is that the Canadian border is still closed.
Yeah.
So does that mean that we're going to have, because apparently, according to Saravalli, it looks like there's talk of an all-Canadian division for the next season. So the Canadian teams will just be ripping back and forth all over the place for the year, which might be fun. I would love to see 8 matchups against Calgary. Like, somebody would probably get stabbed with a skate or something. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. They pulled off the playoffs. A lot of people didn't think they were going to be able to do it. They did it, and now they've got a bigger task at hand, because Gary Bettman says he wants to allow fans in, but what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
Who knows if the border is going to be open? What's that going to look like? So there's a lot of questions that need to get sorted in really not that much time, because we're already going into October.
Yeah, I'm done being critical of, like, at the beginning I was like, are you sure? Like, should you be shutting down? Shouldn't you be playing? Oh no, they got fans. I'm just like, let's just get back to normal, right? Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now as a fan of sports. Like, I'm impressed with how baseball's doing it. I didn't think baseball would go, and then the NFL, same kind of thing, right? So it'll be interesting.
It's going to be fascinating to watch how this happens, because obviously there's billions of dollars on the line when you're talking about pro sports. So they're going to push it forward in one way or another. It's just going to be what iteration of that happens. Do you know what I mean? What does that look like? So it's going to be interesting the next couple of months, because we've got a very compressed offseason here to get things done. The draft is coming up next week, and then we got free agency kicking off, and then the season is not going to be that far away, so they need to put a plan in place. Toot sweet.
Always a pleasure, Baggedmilk. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, boys.
From Oilers Nation.